A little joy to the world. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, good friend of mine, never understood a single word he said. It's a good friend of mine, yeah. Okay. Welcome. Hello. Good morning. Grace to you and peace to you. Welcome to you, especially welcome to you who are visiting with us this morning. We are a very strange congregation, if you haven't been able to tell already. So one of the ways in which we are strange is that if you're visiting with us for the first time, we're not going to be here next week. We're actually take the month of July off. It is known as our July Sabbath. And as the founder of this congregation used to say, you give him a month off, he'll give you 13 months worth of work. And I tell you what, I believe that that is absolutely true of your staff and of you as a congregation. We have been doing the work, and I'm grateful to you. And July Sabbath is a time to enter into a new rhythm for our spirituality, a new rhythm for our orientation to life and to God and to each other. And so take that time, breathe deep, eat a lot, feast, rest, visit other places, get ideas, and then come back, and we'll see you in August. And that's what we'll be doing in August. And then on the second week, just to put it on your calendar, not the second weekend in August. I think it's the third Sunday in August. Third Sunday in August, thank you. We will be having a potluck to celebrate our return. And we'll be moving back into the sanctuary. Now, all of you who love this space, raise your hand. All of you who love the sanctuary space, raise your hand. And it's okay for you to love both. All of you who love both, raise your hand. Okay. All of you who want one or the other, you can fight outside. We don't want it here. Okay. All right. Other announcements. I can't think of anything. Take a look at the nuggets and everything that's in the nuggets. Take a look and continue to lift up the work of our congregation in prayer. I do want to tell you, I want to make a distinction between vacation and Sabbath, and that is Sabbath. Sabbath is that, we need that table somewhere else. Sabbath is actually, hey, welcome back.
Thank you. Hey, you too.
Yeah.
I'm glad you stayed.
Yeah, good to see you. What was I saying? Sabbath is not vacation. I know you think it is for the staff, but it's not. They actually work during the Sabbath, but it's a different kind of work. It's more thoughtful, it's deeper, and planning and those kinds of things. So just want you to know that. So when we come back, don't ask us how our vacation was, okay? Because it was Sabbath. All right, take a deep breath. Know that you're loved. Welcome to you. And Abbott, where are you? Will you please call us to, is it time for that? Call us to worship. Thank you.
Please rise if you're comfortably able. We are moved to awe and wonder at the grandeur, the poetry, the richness of life. We are filled with joy and thanksgiving. Sabbath time speaks of a time to come when all that has divided us will merge and compassion will be wedded to power. Sabbath time is the peace of what is and enemy best about life. Softness and wonder will come to a world that is harsh and unkind, and then both men and women will be gentle. Both men and women will be strong. No person will be subject to another's will. People will live in abundance and free and varied, and then the greed of some will give way to the needs of many. All will share equally in earth's abundance, and then all will care for the sick and the weak and the old. All will nourish the young, and then all will cherish life's creatures. All will live in harmony with each other and the earth.
This is the time in our service when we lift up the celebrations of our lives. It can be a birthday, it can be an anniversary, it could be something that surprised you. Maybe you were surprised by grace. Perhaps you were an instrument of peace. Perhaps someone gave you just the right word of encouragement that you needed. We do our best to stand in this world as people of integrity and faith and hope and healing. And actually, as United States citizens of conscience, we do our best to be the best humans we can be. And when that happens, that is worth celebrating. So, if you have such a celebration, please stand and then let an usher come to you with a microphone so that we can all hear it. And we will start on this side and slowly move across the room to hear these celebrations. And we will start with Jim.
Hello, I'm Jim Gear, and we will be leaving, hopefully after I have a couple more heart stents put in on Wednesday, we'll be leaving for Pennsylvania. And so we'll be gone for a while. So during that time, in early July, our granddaughter Beezer will turn 11? 12. Okay. All they do is make us feel older. And I will turn 72, and Barb and I will have been married, let's see, what year is this? 48 years, a heck of a long time, and a heck of a long time for her to put up with me.
Yes.
Oh, and I forgot, we've got a grandson, Jude, who will be turning 5 in July? July.
Okay, very good. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, and safe travels to you. All right. Alison.
Good morning. I was happy to see Rob and Annika this morning, and want to thank Rob for helping me up the stairs with my food. So it was a blessing to have him there to help me up the stairs. This week I'm going to be really excited to have Lissa come visit for almost 2 weeks before she heads off to Germany, and we'll get to celebrate her 37th birthday. So that will be a special treat. And then later in the week, granddaughter Tegan will turn 8, and on the 16th, Phil would have been 78.
Wonderful. Happy birthday. All right. Nikki.
Good morning, Mickey Tucker. On July 16th, we won't be here, so I'm celebrating Jessie's birthday. She's turning the big 3-0.
Wow. Okay. All right. Sands.
Yes, those of you who have children or grandchildren fully understand why this is a celebration. This week, my son-in-law came and got the last of the crap out of my house in my garage. The only thing that's left in my house now is my own crap. That's it.
And that's stuff.
All right. Very, very good. Jim, didn't we already do?
Yeah, we did, but we have to make an editorial correction. Okay. Barb corrected me and said Beezer was 12, but then she just told me, you're right, she's only 11.
Oh.
And by the way, just so you think Beezer's a funny name, when she was born, her brother was only a year and a half old, and he kept telling Barb baby sister, but it came out sounded funny, and Barb finally said, Beezer? And he said, yes, and the name has stuck.
Yes, wonderful. All right. All right.
Good morning, Peg Heintzelman. On the 27th of June, my older brother Roger will be turning 65, which means at the end of July, because he's 5 years older than me, I'll be 60. And our baby, Daniel, is turning 30 on the 7th. And Ken and I will be celebrating 39 years on the 28th of July.
I know. She doesn't look that old, does she? All right.
I don't know if anybody else is planning to celebrate this, but last Sunday evening, Ken had organized a marvelous rally for keeping our families together and also on what's happening to their children. And as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, there were between 300 and 350?
The latest official count from the custodial staff at the church was over 400.
How much?
Thank you. Yes.
First of all, would the gentleman that drove me up here stand up for a minute? You know who you are. I was in such a hurry that we got all the way up here, and I went, oh my God, my lights are still on. I said, do you have your keys? And he said, I hope so. So he went back and he turned off my lights. So. The other thing I wanted to say is thank you for all your prayers. On April 29th, I got a cochlear implant. So now I'm what you call a cyborg, kind of the Star Warsy thing. And I was up here putting a little mini mic, and that actually, you can't hear it, but I can hear a stream right into my ear. I'm still learning words, and I know I can pick up men's voices better than women, and if you speak slowly and distinctly, I can probably hear you, even among this restaurant kind of thing. I have we can change stickers, and my name's Melody, so I've got the treble clef and stuff. But when I go to Colorado to see my grandkids at Christmas, I'm going to change this to Wonder Woman, because that is my favorite, my granddaughter's favorite hero. So thank you again, and I hope to hear y'all better, and that's it. Oh, and I said about the mini mic I
Yes.
put on you.
Yes.
It's not an FBI kind of thing. It's just so I could hear.
I'm especially glad to hear that. Okay. And is it working? I mean, can you hear? Is it working? Are we communicating? Okay. And the jokes.
That I keep missing.
Yeah, all right. You're not missing much. All right. Hubert.
Hello, my name is Hubert, and I wanted to celebrate an awesome week at camp. This year I had the pleasure to be a counselor for senior high student at the camp up in Emmanuel Pines in Prescott Valley. And I wanted to celebrate a very, very awesome weekend where I got to meet awesome people. And I think Shadow Rock and the Southwestern Conference should be proud for creating such a welcoming, safe environment, especially for children who are going through a lot or who just need a break from, the garbage that sometimes the outside world can be. So it was a very fun this year. It was a super diverse group, and I had an amazing time, and I would like to thank two people. So first is Brenda for pointing me towards the way of camp. I have had, this is my second year there, and I have an amazing experience there, so thank you very much, Brenda. And the second one is Herb, who got me a lot of snacks to give the seniors and made me super popular, so thank you so much, Herb.
All right. Good. Lois.
Yesterday, we had a celebration of life for one of our church family members. It's Connie Beaupre, and you will see around you some of the quilts that she made. They're more in the sanctuary, but we do have some down here as well. The pictures the family left for us to all take a look at today, so please take the opportunity to do so. And I stood up last week and said, Chris needs some help. And we would really appreciate it if the church family would provide some of the food for the reception. You went over the top. And Chris was so touched that so many people, even though they're not here on a regular Sunday basis, were people that would come forward, people he didn't even know, help contribute. And I had a wonderful crew of people to help put the reception on. And I just thank each of you from the bottom of my heart. It meant so much to their family, but it means something to our family too.
Thank you. Good word. All right. Pat.
Good morning. I'm Pat Kurtz, and I am celebrating the opportunity that we have as citizens of Arizona to put a constitutional amendment on the ballot this November, and it's called Outlaw Dirty Money. We have only a couple more weeks to gather signatures. I know a lot of you have signed, but if you haven't, I have petitions, and if you would like to take a petition and gather signatures, I have extras. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Okay. Roy, someone give that man a microphone. All right.
Yes, sir.
You have a celebration for us,
Make this
sir?
hard on him.
Okay.
So Ken wanted me to just say a couple of words about the chairs you're sitting in. In this room, almost every chair in this room has been fixed. It has new rivets in them, and for a total of about 158 out of 300. I don't know if that's the right number. I just made 158 up. But it sounds correct, doesn't it? So you should be safe in here today. Safe spot, except for 3 of you. You're still at risk. Okay. Is that what you wanted me to say, Ken?
Yes, sir. That was exactly it. All right. We're grateful for that. Okay. And again, the rally last Sunday, it was the effort of many, many, many people of this congregation and other groups in our community. It was seen as a great success, not only to take a stand, to make a statement about our mission, which has been for the last 4 years, has been to keep families together and to keep people safe. That's the simple mission that we've been doing. And it felt good to have so many people in the community to join voice with that. So thank you all, because this is an expression of a congregation and our values and our mission and our vision for the kind of world that we want to build and we feel called to build. So thank you for that. Yeah, yes, Sherry. Oh, and Yvette and Sixto on last Sunday morning, they actually made the signs, and in fact, I forgot to get them. They're in the other room. Perhaps I can go get them during a song or something. But Nancy got the supplies, and she headed up this project, and Yvette and Sixto, we took construction fencing, and we put all the blue pinwheels in those, and which is a symbol of child abuse prevention. And Yvette had the additional idea that put the pinwheels around the edges and have a message down the middle. And so they did Keep Families Together, Happy Father's Day, Justice, all kinds of wonderful messages. And one of the signs actually got used on one of the news channels as a background. I don't know which one that was. Herb, do you know which one? 3 and 5.
3 and 5, okay? So again, I'm grateful to all of you, who you are, and the way that we empower each other. So let's sing our celebration song.
Celebrate your heart and your spirit. Celebrate your life while you live it, even when it's hard to do. Celebrate the best of you. Celebrate your dream and your visions. Celebrate the love you've been given. Cherish all that you've been through. Celebrate the best of you.
Good morning. For those of you who may have read in the bulletin that I provided the flowers in honor of the work of the board, that was my intent. I signed up on the flower chart several weeks ago, but in being here yesterday and seeing the beautiful flowers, this was far better than I would have done. So these are the flowers from yesterday, but I still want to celebrate the work and honor the work of the board. While Ken referred to Sabbath and that people are still working, the board is still working. I know that many of us have a concern about our deficit, and I thought it was important, number one, I want to introduce the board members who are here, both to recognize them and to let you know that any of these people can be contacted if you have questions. I'm going to start with the executive committee. Brian Baca is our vice president. He's probably in the back. Okay. I don't want to prolong our feast, so let's hold off on our clapping till we get to the end. Tim Schmaltz is our secretary. Charlie Farmer, I believe, is still out of town. He is our treasurer. Linda Merritt assists greatly as our past president. Please stand and stay standing. I'm sorry. I didn't give all the directions. Not yet, not yet. And of course, Ken is a big part of our board. Our members at large, Sans Cameron. Please stand. Tom Batson, I think he may be up north right now. Herb Tucker. Barbara Zaborowski. Nancy Campbell. Monet Davis. I didn't see Monet. No. Mike Catorna. I think they're out of town this weekend. Jim Robbins. Perfect. So now we can appreciate the work of the board. Over the summer, one of the things that will happen is several of us are getting together. We're reading the book From Good to Great in preparation for our visioning process. That's one thing that's happening. The other thing that I think is important for you to recognize, and thank you so much to Tim Schmaltz for putting this together, we have a very, very heavy workload ahead of us, and it is spelled out month by month. Some of these are in weeks. We're going to be interviewing people as facilitators for our retreat, which we are planning for the last weekend in September. We are hoping to get have our visioning process in place by the end of this year with a budget for next year. So we are doing lots and lots of work over the July Sabbath as well, and well into the next church year. So I wanted you to be aware of that. And then the report on our 50 for 50 campaign. I believe Marilyn's not here today. We had an overwhelming positive response. I think that's a reflection on our congregation, on our minister, on the work that we're doing. We had 28 families commit to that sum of $1,000. So we are ironically halfway there to meeting our deficit. So thank you to everybody. For those of, I agree. For anybody who's, we're taking down the wall. For those of you who may still want to consider any part of that $1,000, please send your checks in. Obviously, we're still in need of making up part of that deficit, but it's a wonderful testimony to all of the great things that are happening here. So thank you very much. And now we will take our offering. So our offerings for the work of ministry in this place and beyond shall now be received. Thank you.
I know that it's become, I already knew this, but it's becoming especially, center of some of my attention that, different people go to different churches for different reasons to get different things. That there very much is a consumer mentality that if you don't get what you need from a church, then you go somewhere else, or maybe you even stop going to a church. And I know that part of what we've seen in the work of the board in terms of demographic studies, that there are a fair number of people that what they are looking for is they are looking to go to church and be told how to be a better husband, a better wife, a better partner, a better parent, a better coworker, a better employer. Any number of roles that you may play in your life, how can you do that better and do it with more peace and do it with more grace and do it with more effectiveness? And I understand that. I understand the need for that kind of motivational speaker, but in my view, that is not preaching. In my view, that is not what we are about. that what we are about is that we are doing our best to learn the deep and ancient wisdom of our tradition, not only so we can be better individuals, but mostly so we can be a better community. That we are like the yeast that is put into a petri dish to grow a counterculture that ultimately becomes the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Now, there are a lot of different ways for us to think about who we are. For example, we could ask, are you a vitamin or an aspirin? Are you a vitamin or an aspirin? A vitamin is taken as a supplement to improve life, and an aspirin is taken in order to relieve pain. Both of which are very valuable. But which are you? Are you an umbrella or a raincoat? I'm not sure what that means. But let your imagination go with that. Are you a mop or a broom? That is, do you get into the messiness of things and absorb it? Or do you just sweep things away, put it in a dustpan, and discard it? Both are very, very valuable. And what if we apply these kinds of questions to who we are as a church? As a church, are we an aspirin or a vitamin? Are we a cruise ship or a mid-sized schooner? Depending upon the wind of the Holy Spirit to take us where it would blow. Are we a hospital or a MASH unit? A couple of weeks ago, I gave a summary of the board's work for the last 6 months, and on the one hand, we're taking very seriously that we passed a $56,000 deficit budget, and notice we don't hide it, and we want to address it immediately and in very practical ways, and we've done so. On the other hand, we are trying to understand what it means to be a thriving congregation for the future, given all our practical realities and given our core values. To help all of us to understand the complexity of the challenge, I shared with you a model of brand, infrastructure, and execution. Brand is the type of product manufactured by a particular company under a particular name. Shadow Rock's product is to build a healing and inclusive community of hope, peace, and justice. And as we struggle to figure that out, that is the work of the people to build these processes is the heart of our spirituality. Because when we do that, we are yelling at each other, trying to figure what it is, and what is revealed is that we are known, and we do know most truthfully who we are, and we are known and most truthfully known by God. That's spirituality. To know and to be known by God and by one another. Infrastructure is the basic physical and congregational structures and facilities like the buildings, the roads, the power supplies, the money, the financial practices needed for the operation of this enterprise. And execution is the carrying out or putting into effect a plan, an order, a course of action. We talked about that. But I want to say that from time to time, we've gotten off track as a congregation. We have mistaken our infrastructure for our brand. Let me give you an example. For a while, people thought that being open and affirming or being the gay church was our brand, our product. Some people embraced this and some did not. And currently, some people would say that our brand and product is being a sanctuary church. Some embrace this and some do not. I would say this is wasted time and energy to have this discussion. That being open and affirming or a sanctuary church is not our brand or our product. Being open and affirming in a sanctuary church are the current infrastructure by which we deliver our product of being an inclusive and healing community working for justice. Being open and affirming in a sanctuary church are only two ways that we walk the talk of our values. The question is not, should being open and affirming and offering sanctuary be our products, our brand? The question is being open and affirming and offering sanctuary, are they legitimate perceptions and responses to God's newest thrust in history that are true to our core values of inclusion, justice, and spirituality? In addition to asking if being open and affirming and offering sanctuary being the right infrastructure for our brand of inclusion, justice, and spirituality, we must ask, are we putting all the right resources and internal political will into executing our mission? Or are we distracted? We do allow ourselves in the name of nicety to get distracted. We want to keep our goals lofty and our mission vague to allow everyone to be comfortable. When you think about the history of our denomination and our congregation, we suffered a loss of friends and family when we took a stand. Ordaining the first black clergy, we paid a price. Ordaining the first women clergy, we paid a price. Open and affirming of all LGBTQ and A persons, we paid a price. Speaking out against the Iraq war, we paid a price. Standing for marriage equality. Some people got queasy and wondered why we're politicizing marriage. The truth is others politicized it by telling the church what its mission is, and we responded by taking a stand, and we paid a price. Offering sanctuary so families can stay together and people can be safe from torture and murder, we paid a price. In every instance, sensitive and discerning people perceived and responded to God's newest thrust in history, and history has proved them right, and we have paid a price. I think we can make a good case that we are in alignment with the right side of history. However, alignment of our brand and infrastructure and execution is something that eludes us. The leaner we get as a congregation, the less able we are to absorb the organizational bumbling that occurs when we are so out of line. A large cruise ship can absorb the big waves easier than a medium-sized schooner. We end up having some intense discussions when we try to discern, are we a hospital for ourselves or a MASH unit for the world? It is very difficult to be both, and both are legitimate. Think about this over July Sabbath. Go visit other congregations and discern if they are aspirins or vitamins. Cruise ships are schooners. Hospitals are MASH units. Most importantly, discern if they are clear in themselves as to who they are, and if so, how did they get there? Last Sunday we were blessed by Reverend Jean Lefebvre, by his story and his lessons about courage. He told us that as Christianity is a shrinking religion in Western society, it will be those communities that have courage and take risk that will survive and thrive in the future. It is not the churches that are large and mirror the culture that will survive. It is the church that stands countercultural and dares to articulate to secular people life's greatest possibilities. Those are the churches that will thrive. Now, I'm biased. You called me to be pastor at this congregation, and you showed me my office. And when you showed me my office, you pointed out the weird floor plan of the office and how the windows come together at an angle at one place in the office. And that architecture was to remind me that as your pastor, you expect leadership to be cutting edge. I take you very seriously. My understanding of the ministry of Jesus and our own covenant is that we are more a vitamin than an aspirin, more of a PT boat than a cruise ship, and more a MASH unit than a hospital. However, I was reminded by a good friend and member of this congregation, and I keep that note front and center on my desk, that not everyone is a social pioneer. Their comment touched my pastoral heart. And I'm determined that as we move through history, we should never leave any of our wounded behind. But we have some decisions to make. And when we return from our Sabbath, our work will begin again. So enjoy the Sabbath. Be blessed. Rest. We have an incredible future ahead of us. Amen. Please join me if you are comfortably able. No, I mean please stand if you're comfortably able and join me in the words for mission. That's what I mean.
It's all right.
Thank you. I'm glad you know what I mean. All right. May this also be our grace for our Sabbath feast together. Please join me. The God we worship is never confined to this holy place, so go and travel with the God who is found in ordinary and surprising places.
May the quality of our lives be our benediction and a blessing to all whom we touch.
These are the times.
We are the people.
All of creation is blessed.
May we love all and serve all.
God be with you.
And also with you.
Amen.